Hello guys, this is Sahil from ACM chapter IIT ISM Dhanbad, and today we will solve this problem, move brackets of Codeforces round 653 div 3. So let's read the problem statement. You are given a bracket sequence S of length n where n is even. The string consists of n by 2 opening brackets and n by 2 closing brackets. So this is what a bracket sequence is, and it contains equal number of opening and closing brackets. In one move you can choose exactly one bracket and move it in the beginning of the string or to the end of the string. So we can just pick any character and remove it and then replace it either in the beginning or in the end of the string. So your task is to find the minimum number of moves required to obtain regular bracket sequence from S. It can be proved that answer always exists under the given constraints. Recall what the regular bracket is. This is a regular bracket. It is opening and it is closing. If S is a regular bracket, then this is also a regular bracket, and if S and T are regular brackets, then S plus T are also regular bracket. Let me give you an example of these cases. For example, these are also regular brackets, and these are also regular brackets because at the end of them there is no open bracket left. So now let's read the remaining problem statement. You have T independent cases. You have to print the minimum number of regular bracket sequence S. It can be proved that answer always exists. So let's try to find the solution. There can be two cases. One case will be like this, and other case can be like this. Yeah, so these two are both different cases, and we have to let us example these are thus just the substrings of the entire string, because in entire string the number of opening and closing brackets must be equal, and in these are not. So we need to define something. First thing that we need to define is the number of brackets that are closed. So let's call that as integer a. Number of open brackets, and in a regular sequence that number of open brackets will be 0, because the number of opening and closing brackets will be equal. For example, look at this is the regular sequence. In this sequence the number of opening and closing brackets are equal. Yeah, so let us see how this integer will work in the cases that I defined below. In this, if a is 0 in the beginning, so the value of a will like here it will be 1, 2, 3, and as the closing bracket will come, the value of opening brackets will decrease to, and this will continue on, and at the end of the day it will be 0. So let us check out in this case. In this case the value will be 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, but at the end of it this will also be 0 because the regular bracket sequence exists. So this a will now keep the count of number of open brackets. Now let us see where will the problem will occur. If my string is like the first case, in this case, then I think no problem will exist, because in the remaining part of the sequence somehow it will end. So our a will just become 0, and we will not we will not need to remove any part of the string and concatenate it to the start or the end. So now let's look at the second case, and this is the important case that we have to tackle. uh, so let us see this case detail step by step. Yeah, so here my bracket is opened, so my value of a becomes 1. Here my bracket is closed, so this is a regular sequence. I don't need to do anything else from it. So now now what comes again is an closing bracket. So there should be an opening bracket in front of it. So what we will do is that we will remove it from here and concatenate it to the end. So in this way, no matter where its opening bracket will be, it will always close and making it a regular sequence, and the value of a will also decrease as I have removed this. So here it will become 0, -1, -2. Then we will do the same for this and then same for this. Now let's look into the coding part. So the code is quite simple here. First we take an integer n, and then we take its input, then we take the input of string s, then we define an integer a, the number of opened brackets, and we define an integer answer equal to 0. What answer represents? The answer represents is the number of brackets that are concatenated to the end. Yeah, so this answer represents. Now what we will do is that we will just make a for loop and iterate over all the integers. Now if my si is open bracket, then I'll increase my integer a, or else I will decrease my integer a. And if my integer a, if my the part of the string is closing bracket and my a is less than 0, so what that means, let us see just two cases here. One case is like this. Yeah, these are the same cases that I discussed earlier. What happens in this case? In both cases we will encounter a closing bracket, but in this case I will need not to worry about the closing bracket, because it makes another opening bracket regular and thereby decreasing our problem. But in this case, as the number of closing brackets increase, it increases my problem, as this before the string before that is regular, and this closing bracket can't make this string regular. So I'll have to remove that bracket and paste it to the end. So we have to check if the value of a is negative, so that only then we will be able to concatenate our closing bracket and paste it to the end, and then we will increase the value of a, because now that our this bracket is not there, then we will just need to create a counter effect of the a that we subtracted earlier in the above case, and then we will finally print our answer. So let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. Thank you.